And we are live with first-time guest to dive into Sven-ology, comic artist Liam MG. Liam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, thanks for being here. So let's first go, how did we get here? And then let's get right into how did you get selected to be one of the featured artists in the most recent comic? But first, let's jump into comments and let's see. All right, Michaela always delivering some welcome commentary. Good evening. Happy Svengoolie Day and Memorial Day weekend to all from Store Goolie. Liam, just so you know, we were just talking about Michaela right before we went live. Michaela's alias is Store Goolie. Nanette, as we just mentioned, Nanette says happy Sven Day to all and hello to Michaela. My guy, Chai Star G, drops in his regular let's go. And senior moderator of Reddit, see, this is flowing well because it was through Reddit that we found Liam to come around. Through Reddit, the senior moderator of Reddit saying happy Sven Day and a good guest too. So let's lead him. So how did you figure to ask us to put your stuff up in Reddit? We were falling over each other. Hey, you want to post your stuff in Reddit? Let's get your stuff in Reddit. How did that occur to you to figure to post in Reddit your art that's in the comic?
I just haven't posted in a while, and I just thought it would be cool to share my original art.
It was exactly cool. It was more than cool. Now, don't let Danny confuse you. So in Reddit, it's saying Hollow09. In real life, it's Danny. On the screen, it's Kelly. Don't let this multi-alias guy confuse you. But we were falling over each other to get your art in there. You were good enough to put in pencil and ink. So we'll go more into that. But so from our conversation in the chat box, so I already know the answer, but let me ask, how did you land this gig? How did you get connected to the comic?
I just continuously brought my portfolio of comic book art to conventions like C2E2, and I would continuously get rejected like over and over again. So you kind of have to be a psychopath to continue to go on and get rejected. But because most people get rejected once and they want to tie themselves to the train tracks. But I went to a GalaxyCon in Columbus, and I drove all the way out there from Chicago, and I went straight to Dan DiDio's desk, or not his desk, his booth, and I was lucky enough to where no one was there, but the hotel I was staying at, the shower was like messed up, so I kind of smelled really bad. And he was like, you could tell he did not want to review my portfolio at all. And he was like, hey, can you come back tomorrow? And I'm like, no, I only got the ticket for the one day. And I think it was his wife. She was like, no, review his art. And he was like, oh, all right, fine. And then I sat in her chair, that poor chair. And he liked my art enough to give me his email. And a few months later, he emailed me and he was like, do you want to do this Svengoolie anthology story? And I was like, of course, I love Svengoolie.
Man, see, this is what I'm talking about. I like community building. I like to get stories that you can't get otherwise, like to be shared out in the open here. This is top flight. So I'm going to pitch you. Oh, we got Chris Hamby. Okay, so I know comments are stacking. We're going to get I'm going to pitch a Dan question, and then we'll come into the comments questions, and then we're going to flip back over to the Reddit screen. Okay, so and I had recently, not all super recently, I had seen Dan at the other comic. Well, here, let me hold up both comics. So here is the one that you worked on, and we're going to do some screen close-ups and all that. Here is the previous one. So with Dan's signature right over here, at that time, in the physical location in Skokie, at All Yeah Comics. I see Dan there as part of the signing. And he comes out of the employees only room, which is code for the bathroom. But so now I'm asking you, since Dan was in the employees only room, do you think Dan considers himself an employee of All Yeah Comics?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, that's fair enough. All right, trying to have some levity here. Chai Star G, who is our resident art director around here, asks, "Did you go to art school?"
No, I did. Well, I gave myself an art education just buying books and stuff, but no, I didn't go to an actual school.
All right, solid, solid. Chai Star goes for the double dip. Do you do conventional drawing or digital? Oh, man, it's coming. Well, fine, let's go with the question now. I was saving that one for later. Are you more conventional, digital, mixture? What kind of media are you utilizing in your process?
I'll do my rough layouts and drawings of the comic digitally with a little $10 pad, and then I'll print it out 11 by 17 and just light box it and then refine it traditionally.
Light box. That's tough. Later on, I'm going to pitch about did you use models? Did you go full? Well, I'll pitch it. Did you go full Alex Ross? And did you get the actual imp in front of you and put some lights on and some shadows? Or you you didn't go full Alex Ross, did you?
No, I did not.
All
I
right.
wish I could have.
Right. And who knows what's in the future? Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Hamby, let me tell you, Liam, Chris is so for blog coverage of weekly installments for what's coming on the movie, for exhaustive coverage, Chris Hamby is the top man for that. There's two Dave on Terror Dave's. Dave will give you event coverage and insights, but if you want the week-to-week coverage of what's coming up on the movie, the history of the movie, and all of it, that is where we go to Chris Hamby. So Chris says a quick hello. Now we come back to Danny, aka Kelly. We have a I didn't realize you were that close to the Joe Kubert school. That's pretty cool. Okay, now Ned says, loved it. Hat that Liam was wearing. All right. Can you bow in a little bit so we can get a better man? I'm going to assume that's your stuff on your own hat there. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was just a plain white hat, and I got bored one day, and I'm like, I'll just draw on it. Why not?
Yeah, spoken like a true artist. All right. So here again, let me flip the share screen over to Reddit so the good people can see your work, and we'll get a better close up on this. So you received a full script, and then you got to work. It's a 5-page piece within the anthology. So you did pencils and inks, and I'm assuming then you were not working on a screen at this point, but you were working on actual conventional paper and pencil and paper and ink.
Yeah, it just looks better that way.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Hey, now I'm clowning about Alex Ross, but I know Alex refuses to get into the more modernized ways of doing it. He keeps it traditional. Okay, so now I'm going to have to flip over so I can navigate, so I won't be able to see for a second. But so okay, this is one of your pages in pencil, and we'll have some close-ups later. So here's your other page in pencil. So this mid shot here. Well, let me say that I really like this mid shot, the vanishing point, the perspective for that library installment there. But then if people can see, then pencil to ink. Did you need to get approval from anyone in the Frank Miller Publishing House before you went from pencil to ink, or were you given the green light to just run with it on your
own? No, Dan asked me for the rough layouts for approval, and once those were approved, he was like, yeah, you can go to final inks.
Man, that's so cool. I mean, right? This guy was the driving force behind DC Comics for a great many years. Yeah. And that had its time and came and went. And now just like I admire. So let me come back and loop back. I admire your persistence that you weren't he must have admired your persistence or you wouldn't have got the gig, right? That is pretty cool. Sometimes you just got to commit and go all in and stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Michaela, many time acknowledged artist in the Reddit group and on the show on the mail segment. So Michaela saying that is great art. And let me come back to Hamby. Hamby saying hello to everybody in his long list of people, as he always is. Chris is very inclusive in his list. Okay, so let me flip over now, come to some more close-ups here. So let's see. Okay, so were you told how many panels per page in the script, or was that more on your own discretion?
No, he gave me a description of each panel, and I just followed it.
And he, the scripter, is the actual imp Scott himself. So were there like side notes about what point of view to take on this middle shot here, or was that more?
No, I was just it was my first ever comic job, so I wanted to like razzle dazzle him and be like, ah, look at that,
I feel I've been razzle dazzled as well in the best of ways. Okay, right, and here's the other page. The witch's head. I mean, so and look here. Let me just do a little title, right? Pencil, then ink, right? So definitely, do you consider yourself equally versed in penciling and inking, or do you feel one is more your strong suit over the other?
Yeah, I always felt like I was a better penciler, but the way the industry's going now, like if you want to get work, you have to be a quote unquote line artist, which means you do both.
Man, see stuff I don't know because I'm
Yeah,
not standing outside Dan's table in Columbus. That's amazing. That is so cool. Okay, so again, I'm particularly impressed by this page. The checkerboard floor, the height of the bookshelf. That I'm speaking as a fan of the work. I really enjoy the layout and the look of all of this. This is some great stuff here. Uh,
thank you.
so then let me ask. So, and here's the thumbnail you selected. You must be a natural because you knew to get it narrow enough to fit into StreamYard's tiny little box that they give us. I'm assuming that's you in black and white there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, hey, well achieved, creepy looking black and white there on yourself.
Thank you.
Uh, Still on the process. So now here's the full color. So did you mail out the physical pages to the colorist, or in the assembly line side of things? Once you finished the pencil and the ink, then how did it get handed over to the colorist and to the letterer?
Yeah, I just did the pages in ink and I scanned them in, uploaded them to my computer, and I emailed them to Dan DiDio, and from there on out they got colored.
Man, did you feel? And I'm not trying. This is not supposed to be a trick question or a controversial question, but do you feel the colorist rendered things as you had intended them, or was there any surprise interpretation that the colorist brought something that you didn't anticipate in the first place?
No, I thought he did a great job. I think it looks great.
Yeah. And let's not leave out the lettering. It's totally pro work on the lettering. I'm going to assume you weren't having a communication loop, an ongoing text thread with the lettering.
No, I the only person I talked to was Dan DiDio.
Man, yeah, just staying at the top of the chain there. Okay, couple more comments have come in. Danny, aka Hollow, aka Kelly, says Imp looks terrific. Liam did his character justice, and again with the razzle dazzle. Absolutely, we're gonna have to incorporate a hashtag razzle dazzle around here a little bit more. Let me come back now where I can pull the image of the Imp. So okay, so you mentioned you've been a Sven fan for however long. When would you say you first discovered the character of Svengoolie?
I was like 6 or 7, and I was at my grandparents' house, and my grandfather was watching it. It was Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein, and I remember watching it as a kid. And you know that scene where he throws the little girl into the water? Yeah, I
And
was.
it had been edited heavily and then got yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that, and as a 7-year-old, that's pretty intense stuff. So I was like, it was jarring. And then I just see Svengoolie come on doing his like little song and dance with rubber chickens falling on him, and I'm like, this is really interesting. Yeah, I love Svengoolie.
Man. Okay, so would you then did you go back home then next week and watch again, or was it your routine to watch it in the house of your grandparents, or how did you continue to connect to the show and to the character?
Yeah, I would always visit my grandparents' house. They live really close, and it would always be on every night, and I would watch it most nights.
Man. All right. So as you're watching, obviously you said the song and dance bit. Did you have a bit that stands out in your head, or is one of the side characters like before they added in the Imp and Nostalgia Ferratu and Gwen Gooley, where you're like, Was it like you're a little guy and you're thinking, oh, that Kerwin's really funny? Or like, what about the supporting cast might have caught your attention? Or was there a specific bit or anything that stood out to you?
The rubber chickens to this day, whenever or like the groans, those to this day make me laugh. I love that stuff.
And we're in the right place together. I don't want to. Great minds think alike, but rubber chicken minds think alike.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some more comments. Let's check. Okay, Chai Star says, "What influences your Sven style art besides Sven, if there's anything?" So, if I can tack in, were there? I'm assuming you had read some comic books before. Did you incorporate that into?
Yeah, any of the EC comics, like those artists are great. Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein line art, that stuff I love that stuff. All that stuff's amazing. Tales of the Crypt, that I love a good horror host. Like I'm a sucker for that. Tales from the Crypt comics, like all that art is great. Those are my influences.
As you're saying that, and again, the Kerry Gamble and Elgaric
Yeah.
Frankenstein. I'm digging this one. I don't want to rattle stuff too much around, but we got some horror art reference just over to the side here. So again, I'm legit excited here that we're appreciating the same stuff. Danny's saying shaping young minds. He says, of course, it was a grandparent, right? So many people come in by way of their grandparents. I think even now I just totally slow the full flow down. But that she wrote the book on the creature of the Black Lagoon designer. The book's not even that far away. Anyway, she also I'll fill in the comments later, but she started to watch from her grandparents also. Okay, Danny's Tales from the Crypt, top shelf. Nanette said and EC, right? But that it right horror related. That's the right place to go. I did so. Let me just say, so was there also like a Swamp Thing or anybody else that you had taken notice of, or just what other comic art people might have contributed to your enjoyment or contributed to your style?
Yeah, dude, I love the Swamp Thing. Anything Bernie Wrightson did, like, is great. I'm actually writing and drawing a Batman story right now with Swamp Thing in it, and I'm trying to get it published so bad.
Man, well, I hope you can go to the well again, and that persistence pays off. That's again top stuff. So Chai Star might have. So you see, you did. It was at a convention in Columbus where you found Dan. You mentioned C2E2. Are there anything you want to speak on about conventions? Have you been to more conventions? Do you hit C2E2 every year? Any kind of stories you want to tell about your convention going history?
Yeah, I started going right after they started back up after COVID and just constant rejections because I always wanted to bring my stuff to editors and get critiques from other artists, and they would shred my stuff to pieces, and I still kept going, like in an abusive relationship. Like I kept going back. But yeah, I love convention. Like I love the whole atmosphere. Like you could just tell everyone there loves everything about it.
Chai Star's continuing to feed the fire here. Your thoughts on digital versus printed comics?
They have not cracked digital comics. Like it's just not convenient. You don't own it. It's too expensive right now. I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually, but I think printed is the way to go for now.
I'm a creature of habit. I so many other things do I look at through the screen, but for the actual comic, I'm old school. I'm liking the physical media.
Yeah.
All right. So again, this is intended as lighthearted or goony questions here. So okay. So Bill Morrison is the cover artist of the book that you're in.
Yeah.
I have some Christopher Jones art right back here, and in the little corner there's me cosplaying as the as the Chris Jones style Sven. But so did like your inbox start chiming up? Did Bill Morrison call you and say welcome to the club? Did Chris Jones try to teach you the secret handshake for published Sven comic artists? Have you had any comedic or any legit interactions with any of the other creative teams?
No, I wish I did, but unfortunately, it was just me and Dan DiDio. And when it was done, he's like, looking great. And then that was it.
Chris Jones, I don't think you're watching, but if you are, come on, give a shout out to Liam over here, pal. Um, all right, so you mentioned Frankenstein was your onset into the Sven movies. Do you by character, by monster, or by like do you prefer more the Universal classics? Are you more of a Godzilla guy? Do you have favorite characters or favorite genres within the material that Sven shows on his show?
Yeah, I love the old 30s and 40s movies. Like the original Frankenstein, that's my favorite. Like any movie with that type of vibe, I'm interested. Like I'll watch it.
Boris really brought it at the beginning, right? I mean, sure, chronologically, Dracula came first, and some people can pick one or the other. But yeah, Frankenstein really, like Dracula blew up big, but then Frankenstein elevated the game a lot more. Uh, so that's good. And I'm all, I'm drinking out of my creature mug. Some purists will say the creature needs to be in a separate category, but for me, when I'm looking at Pantheon, it's just great to see all those figures together from Invisible Man and on and on. Okay, Fanboy Cantina, longtime partner channel of this channel is saying nice. Jim Campbell, let me see. Where's my Campbell's Corner spoiler alert? Jim Campbell likes to throw boomerang questions. Can you give us any hints about your Batman and Swamp Thing book, says Jim Campbell. That's a more straightforward question. Jim, thank you for being civilized to our new guy, Jim, and not trying to ruffle his feathers with a Campbell kind of a question.
Yeah, the premise is that Joker's in Arkham Asylum and he finds out that Harley Quinn is with Batman now, and he goes crazy and he wants to get Swamp Thing and mutate him to destroy Gotham. And yeah, I'm writing and drawing it now. If it doesn't get accepted or published, I'm just gonna post it to Reddit. Like I don't care. It'll just be fan fiction at that point.
Man, that's I've name dropped Alex Ross a bunch of times. And, John Byrne's gotten a good lot of mileage of doing fan fiction post his relationship with Marvel and post his relationship with DC. So I'm getting that you're a younger guy. You're trying to get established. But you're asking it the persistence, and you're just man, keep the drive alive. Danny's putting an exclamation point there. All right, Shy Star is saying drawing or coloring app of choice.
I use a pirated version of Photoshop from like 2002 or something like that. It was the only thing that was free, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing. But like I said, I print it out and then I just do it traditionally.
Chai Star says, you never know who's watching your art. Keep grinding. After this, I'll give you a little bit more backstory. But yeah, Chai Star had in condensed been in the art ad agencies downtown here and all that, and then took some time to break his own path and whatever. That's a separate business. We're here to talk about your business. Okay. So do you know, has Dan left the door open for future possibilities? Did he? I assume he didn't say, "Don't call me, I won't call you." Is the possibility? Now, he wouldn't be the one to give a green light to a Batman and a Swamp Thing at this time. Has he said anything, or if it's not to comment on this, we can skip over to the next question. Is there possibility that Dan would have you come around again and put some more pages under your career?
Yeah, because when I emailed the line art to him for this project, he was like, I hope we could work together again. And it's actually funny you said that because like a few weeks ago, I emailed him the rough art and the rough dialogue for that Batman thing. And I'm like, please, please, can I get connected with anyone at DC, please? And it was like, looking back, it's very rude and like ignorant to do that. But he was like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I haven't been at DC in like 5 years. I was like, sorry.
Well, I mean, right, so possibly rude, possibly ignorant, but again, I mean, your goal isn't to lead with rudeness or ignorance. Your goal is to, hey, I got to do something to stand out to get your work acknowledged to generate further work. So I mean, and I don't have any juice at DC or anything, but I would love to see, hopefully we're beyond fan fiction, but if as such fan fiction is the way to go, I'm still on board with seeing your pages, man. Again, your line work, to me, it's great stuff to see. Let me kick into some other of the pages you had here. Well, let me jump past the. Again, just again, I'm so enamored by this middle panel here. Also, so this one here. Did you do screen pauses? So you didn't go full Alex Ross. He wasn't standing there with lights on and everything. Did you do like image captures or hit pause on the TV, or what reference did you use to help put the comic together?
I would just for the imp's face, I would just pull up YouTube clips and just pause and try to copy it as best as I can. And like I'd look down, look up, look down, look up. And then for the clothes and stuff, I just copied EC Comics. I just ripped it off. I don't care. I'm unashamed.
That's kind of a punk mindset to just roll up your sleeves and go. Chai-Star, who also considers himself comic relief and is very often the comic relief. Now he's an Asian version of Tony Danza, who's the boss, the old TV. Danny says, absolutely. Danny says, oh God, Chai-Star. And sometimes there's some banter from commenter to commenter in the comment section. Liam, just so you know, love the art style and the shading. And then Angela. Oh, Angela from the Who's the Boss TV show. All right, hey, that's enough of Who's the Boss, guy. Liam's here. This is not the recap. I mean, we're recapping the Sven movies, but until Tony Danza is a featured player on Sven. All right, here. And again, just trying to zero in on, I mean, this is just the detail. So that was the other thing I wanted to know from this panel right in here and this facial scarring over here. Like you did not skip on the detail that you included. So did you find yourself taking more time for a couple of the panels to make sure everything had that pro quality look to it, or what do you have to say about how much detail you were putting into some of these panels?
Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to razzle dazzle the whole team, Dan DiDio, everyone. I looked at a lot of Wally Wood. I don't know if you know him. He's a comic book artist, but yeah, I spent I had like 2 weeks to do it, and I spent every day of the 2 weeks trying to detail it out and just make it stand out.
My Wally did not have the best professional relationship with Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, so man,
A lot of people didn't.
Yes, and that gets into some complicated history that is beyond the scope of my humble small following here to tackle those heavy hitting issues. All right. If there's any other questions for Liam, feel free to pump them in. Liam, where else? So on Reddit, people can find your art there. Do you have socials, or where else could somebody look at your art in current day?
You can find me at every platform at Liam MG Artist. That's all one word, just Liam MG Artist.
All right. We'll give a second or two for anybody else to have any final. Oh, here it goes. Here goes. Kelly, are you watching? Here we go. Back to the show. The senior moderator of the Reddit wants to come back to the actual Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing tonight. Are you watching tonight is the question.
I am, because I want to see the Mummy and I want to see Sven.
That was such a meat and potatoes answer. Right? I want some Mummy. I want some Sven. I know. Let me see. I know that. Now where? Well, there were some. Come check out the Reddit group for Svengoolie, because there's a lot of good banter. Somebody had just put a really clever comment, and I meant to read it off, but it's slightly out of reach at this time. I'll put his info in the description. And see. Comic relief and art direction, both absolutely. Let's get the man's info in the description. Nanette has to say, can't beat a Lee and Cushing combo. Always the question, when's the next live stream? So sometime soon, as we start to wind down here, sometime soon. Chai-Star had attended the anime convention, and I have yet to review and give the good word on the Chicago Horror Film Fest that I just caught at the Logan Theater just the other just the other week. That's right, Nanette. So plenty of other good stuff coming around. But Liam, I super appreciate that the world gifted us or your decision making process. There you are popping into Reddit. I'm like, okay, hey guy, come on the show. I'm glad you said yes. I'm glad you showed us your stuff. I hope this is the beginning of your ascension and your climb in the industry. And this is it's definitely fitting for you to get more gigs coming around. Fanboy is saying need to see that Spidey exhibit at the MSI. All right, let's. So, Leah, are you aware of the Spider-Man exhibit that's at the Museum of Science and Industry?
I am not. I've been to the Museum of Science and Industry. I didn't even know about it.
It just opened this weekend, so maybe that's a future point of conversation. All right, much appreciation to Liam. People, go ahead and watch your Three Stooges and whatever else is on the Me TV before go time at 7. I'm closing us out. It's been my pleasure to host new participator, contributor, artist, professional artist Liam MG. Nanette's final comment is thanks for Mr. C. Awesome interview. Thanks, Liam from Fanboy Cantina. I'm hitting the end stream. Jim Campbell, don't you sneak another comment in here when I'm trying to close out. Thank you for posting your artwork, Liam. And Nanette and Svengoolie. I'm closing this out. Thanks, everybody. And, all right. One more thanks, Liam. Okay, now for sure, I'm hitting end stream right now. We're out of here. Thanks, everybody.